All right. Doing a little bit of an early stream today. It's not going to be a long one either. Unfortunately, I've got to be. I'm trying to get in as much time as I can here, because my mom's got a treatment, so I'm going to go with her on that. So it sort of lowers the amount of time I'll be able to work today. We're still going to go and try our best. Oh, my darling. That did not need to turn into Elvis, but somehow my yawn became Elvis. Okay, so key thing I was working on is the HTTP auth. Now that we have the OAuth token from Twitch, it expires just about every 24 hours. Super cool. So we have to set things up so that that is not an issue for other things. So we're going to take a look at Ripinator. That's the server running this stuff for now. And we're going to have to set up some new hooks in here on the server side to handle some of this stuff. Give me a second here. I'm going to turn on some. Now, I've been having a problem with this Mac when it restarts, and I couldn't figure out what was going on, and it turns out that it's actually these hard drives. Okay, so we'll need that. Let's look up some stuff here. So I forget who was mentioning the socket stuff, but they're 100% right. So we do need to set something like this up so that we don't have to load. I don't have to trick things. So the way I'm doing it with web browsers. So we'll want to do this with WebSockets. Specifically, we're going to want to do this renewal for sure. This needs to happen silently and in the background without the user really even knowing it's going on. So that renewal requires sending of the shared secret again, which means that it has to hit the web server again. Which means that my web server is actually going to be a little bit more active than I was expecting. So once again, a good reason, the end result of saying, "Oh, I need to do this as cheap and free as possible," means that yes, I was very good to take the steps that I did, because yeah, the server's going to be running a little bit more than expected. Now, one thing I did want to try to look into here is, let's bring up the activity monitor. Oops. I guess we can full frame it. Yeah, so this... is there a way to change the res on a remote desktop? Display. Default for display. Scale. Okay, that's as high as we can go. Yeah, we're on a tiny monitor. What I cared about is the CPU. So yeah, the mono is running at 99%. And the reason why this is happening, I believe, is because we're in a while, like an infinite while loop. So I think that's just chewing up cycles. I don't want to do that. I need this thing to rest. I just don't know how to do that just yet. Odie won't go play with Grandma, so I'm trying to walk the dog with him in the carrier. Okay. Throwing a ball a bit for a Stratotire, Calvin out a bit. Okay. All right. We need some way of you getting a hold of me right away if something goes wrong. Let me make sure the phone is off vibrate. Since your hands are great. All right, so refreshing the access tokens. Send an HTTP post request to https id.twitch/oauth2 token. Okay. And on top of that, I suppose we could edit the, we'll edit the server code remotely. We have that mounted, right? Home. Yeah, Ripinator. So let's do that in a separate NVIM setup. What is this opening? Propertize nvim.exe. So cd s. What did I set it as? It's a S drive. S:/ and then this is going to be program. And then OAuth. NVIM. And the one that we care about is called program. Okay. All right, let's get that over here. And then the other code here. Okay. Yeah. Redirect URI. Where's the Twitch token one? All right, so let's some things that we should do here. Let's set up private const, and this is going to be refresh URI equals be string. So that's going to be string. Okay. I'm going to be right back. So be right back. Nowlith, good morning. Had a little incident with a dog. My wife is trying to play with him. Oh, nice. Yeah, I don't know if you're in the Discord. I don't know. Maybe you have a different username. I usually try to rename people in here to match their Twitch name. Let me see. Not sure if you're in here. But we do have like a share section and a help section as well in the Discord. But Discord's kind of a pain in the ass, I'll admit. Like, it feels... it sucks so bad in a lot of ways. It's really frustrating. Everyone's got a damn Discord. See, this is why I wish it was more like IRC. Discord's like... The thing that sucks about Discord in comparison to IRC is Discord is like one level above that in so much as you end up having, like... Imagine having like 30 IRC servers. You know, it's like that. It's awful. Bear, I'm sorry. Okay.
So I'm gonna take him now.
I just came out. I didn't even see your text. So
Yeah, that's why I went on the chat to tell you.
yeah.
Got it.
Are you okay though?
Like, what do you mean?
I don't know. It's just Calvin.
Off. Yeah, not great.
What do you need help with? So let me break it down. This is the way I was explaining to a friend. So scenes and nodes are two different things. What one is the right one? Yeah, I can see that. So you need to do some reading on the how to understand the relative position of where this, like when you attach a script to a node, for instance, you need to understand how to call the parent and call the children. So to do that, let me go to the Godot docs, and the thing you're gonna want to look up is node path, I believe. And there's the actual, let's see. Yeah. So this doc here is going to get you some information about how to determine how to call nodes based on their positioning. The other thing is you don't necessarily need to do this if you give a node a unique name. I forget exactly what Godot calls that. Let me see what it's called here real quick. We'll go to it's not under main. It's going to be in BSS scene. Here we go. So it's called unique name. So scene unique name. So if you search unique name, you can refer to a node by its unique name, so long as the script that's talking to that unique name is part of that scene tree. Scene unique nodes. Is this it? Yeah. Here you go. So this is some information. These two links here should get you some good starting points for that. Let me know if that helps. But the first link I sent has examples of calling nodes. Like right here is some good juicy bits of, like, you can call nodes from the root. So if you know the overall scene hierarchy, then you can call it that way. But this is very much enforcing like object-oriented thinking. Ironically, one of the reasons why I'm liking moving to C# is, even though it's very OOP focused, is that C# scripts can just sort of exist, and you don't need to attach them to a node, which you have to do. You don't have to do, but you really want to do in Godot. And so it's actually nice just to be able to call a class from the ether and be like, I just want this thing to exist right now. Like, I don't want to have to like put it in a scene or on the tree or whatever, you know. And you can do that. You can do that in GDScript too. But it's like for speed and everything, the way that the packed, it just feels like you end up, when you think about it, you end up like with a huge memory footprint in return. But it depends. It all depends on the kind of game you're trying to make, really. All right, so let me get the music going again. I'm in NeoVim. And I'm using I'm not new to Vim, but I'm new to like really using it for like workflow recently. Let me get rid of this be right back message. So I'm pretty new to using it for workflow. So I'm using a combination. I don't want that. Astro in Vim just to get going. So this is actually like what I'm using right here. I can throw a link for you in the chat. How's it going, Trite? I feel like with the name I do stream Trite. Let me go. I'm gonna check. I'm gonna go take a peek. That feels like a stream name. Let's see. No. Yes. Oh, Trite. Yeah, I rated you yesterday, huh? How you doing? Vim key bindings. Dude, tell me about it. I use I followed you, right? Am I following? Yeah, I followed you. That's right. I saw you ended up playing Diablo as well. Thanks for the follow. Yeah, I use Obsidian MD, and I'm finding now that I like I need the Vim bindings in that even. Like it's starting to get where, cause like you don't have to take your hand off the keyboard, you know? And that's like, it doesn't seem like much, but over time you start to shave off seconds. And then eventually you get so good at it, you start to shave off like minutes. And it's crazy how after a while you don't really think about what you're doing. So you're doing F sharp. I'm in C sharp, and I've seen F sharp. You know, it's in the .NET docs and everything like that. Is it really comparative to the C sharp performance? And is it hard to hook into Godot? Yeah, I'm definitely not there. I'm not the best example to look at. That's for sure. We don't need another else here. Oops. But yeah, I'm actually, this is some code for the server of something that I'm working on. Similar, they're both running on the same framework. Yeah. Well, so what about types? Is it strict typed or is it loose? Like what is it? How does the typing work in that? Basically, C sharp and F sharp both get turned into MSIL. An intermediate language for .NET. Oh, I didn't know that. That might explain why the C sharp performance isn't as much of a gain as you'd expect. Is my music? My music seems like it might be a little too loud. Let me bring it down. And I'm sorry I couldn't hang out. I know you had some mic problems, so I was, I couldn't stick around anywheres. Type is stronger in F sharp than C sharp overall. It's basically a functional programming language. Oh my god. I don't know if I could do that. I piss people off because I don't tend to program in an open object oriented way. You do C sharp programming and everyone expects OO. And then when you're not doing that, I think it pisses people off. But functional, like you're locked in with functional. You can't not. That's the thing about functional programming is you can't not program. Like if it's a functional language, you can't not program that way. FP has been the focus of mine for a few years now. Spent the last year working in ReasonML, a OCaml syntax meant to compile to JavaScript. I've never even heard of this stuff. ReasonML. Let me see that. So it's mine. So ReasonML is like TypeScript, but not TypeScript. Like you get the type safetiness, but you don't get the let me get rid of the dog cam here. Sort of. It's a weird, fun territory to play in, but certainly a small subset of the programming community. I'm sure you've seen the YouTube video of the guy talking about why functional didn't, like, he talks about the history. I mean, everything goes back to Java, right? So, I mean, the real reason, the long and short of it is, the reason why functional never took off is Board on Clue. Thank you. 2 months subscription. Thank you so much. Gives you OCaml's type system to check your code, then emits JS just like TypeScript. So it's like a JIT. It's like a JIT compiler, but to JavaScript. Okay. Okay. I didn't even know that's what TypeScript does. Almost less just in time though. Okay. Interesting. Yeah, I feel like programming languages in general need a... have you heard of Odin Lang? Is it odinlang.com? Don't be a porn site. Don't be a porn site. Okay, it's .org. It's going good, Board on Clue. This is interesting because it's a C-like language. It's a... it's compiled. You manage the memory. It's not memory managed. So... You know, it's a lower level thing, but it just kind of gets rid of, well, I shouldn't say gets rid of, but it approaches a lot of the problems of like dealing with handling memory and all that stuff in a really interesting way. And I'm a real big fan of the syntax. I'm actually like, the one thing that like I don't like about C# so far has been the structure of the, I don't know what to call it. I don't know if to call it the syntax or whatever, but I describe it as like real noisy. It's very noisy. And there's a lot of like, you can do var or you can set the type at the beginning. So like you've got all these like things that so everyone can do things differently. Yeah. Have a good one, Trite. It's interesting. I would recommend checking out some videos on it, just to see what you would think of it. But it's got tuples and it does really cool things. Your functions can return multiple I don't know. It does like a lot of little cool things that on the lower end, like on a C like language, that's like super cool stuff to have. I've dedicated time to learning in a non-mainstream language a while ago and won't do it again. I really need to see big adoption before spending so much time again, for sure. I also love Rust for that sort of area. Yeah, it's been interesting watching the whole Rust Foundation stuff going on. It's amazing how much some representatives can completely taint the future of a language adoption, or at least scare people away. That whole thing is just bizarre. It's really bizarre. I think for old hats, you know, with like Oracle and stuff, it scares them because it's very reminiscent of that stuff. Totally get that Board on Clue. ReasonML's adoption fell off shortly before I got into it. It was a lot of work learning because of the lack of adoption. You know, the thing though, I would say is that it's not unlike learning languages, is that the more languages that you kind of learn, the easier it is to come to the next one and sort of understand it quicker, maybe. Or appreciate or not appreciate elements of it. And be able to have a stronger feeling of whether or not it's a good one for the project or something. But yeah, the thing about anything, any language that touches web, you got to be very careful about, because it feels like the web side of like development is very trend surfing. And so and trends come and go, like things come and fall in and out of fashion. You know, is the language you're learning the tie, or is it the bow tie? You know what I mean? Hey, was it good?
Yeah, except at the end, toward the house, it was really bad.
Yeah. Yeah.
But otherwise, he was really good. I talked to him a little bit. What he hears.
Well, but hearing your voice and hearing it calm and knowing what that sounds like. And why are your paws so wet, buddy? Did you drink some water? Did you drink some water on the way home?
He got in the ditch.
You got in the ditch? No mouthing.
Lay down.
Go lay on the couch. Go lay on it. The dog is in the house. Say hello, doggo. It was Vala at the time, and at some point encouraged by Gnome or Gnome. And it's completely left for dead. Yeah, you know, it's really a bummer to see that with like Unity. Unity had that scripting language, and they're just like, nah, we're not doing that anymore. It's like, okay, I guess I'll stop making this game. Like, I can't imagine doing something like that to people. You want to go out? All right. Here you go. So the reason Board on Clue knows the reasons why I was moving it over to C#. Please don't pay attention to these errors here. So just explain what I'm doing right now. We've got a Twitch game that we're working on, and we have we're doing the OAuth authentication. We've got the initial access to the token coming in, but the Twitch token expires just about every 24 hours. So the game client has to refresh that token. In order to do that, we have to contact this little web server that I'm writing over here. This web server then sends out a request to Twitch with the client ID and shared secret, and then gets back the refresh token, which we send back to the... we're doing application... What the hell is it called? Application something. But we got the whole loop going. I need to do one part of it with sockets so that it doesn't open up a web browser twice, but besides that, it's all rolling. But they're called... What is it called? Application something? Here we go. We are doing authorization code grant flow. So that's how we're doing it. And so that way, when people buy this application, all they have to do is, you know, they click authorize in the thing, or it pops up knowing that you haven't authorized and says, hey, you need to authorize this on Twitch. And then a web browser opens up, and it's got, they either need to sign into Twitch if they're not already, or the big screen comes up and says, this app wants these permissions to your account. You choose authorize or not. And then when all that happens, you know, my server goes and sends out a shared secret. It gets back, or the Twitch sends the code to the application. The application sends a request to my server. My server takes that code along with the shared ID, client ID, and shared secret, sends a request to Twitch to get the authorization tokens. The authorization tokens come back. That sends it back to the game client. The game client then fetches that, keeps it in somewhere, and then you know, the whole damn thing. It's a fudging nightmare. So we got all that done. That's all done. And then, oh God, it's a nightmare. And the other thing is like, I've been talking about this with people because maybe it was you, Bordon, but somebody was like, oh, well, because I was complaining that I don't feel like OAuth is really a protocol. It's not a protocol. And it's like, well, it has a spec. And it's like, well, but yeah, but nobody does it the same way. It's like the equivalent of going to a website and everybody does HTTP differently. Like, and so because of that, you end up having to constantly refer to the API of whoever's doing this and how they do it, and then get it based on how they're doing it, and it's a pain in the ass. But maybe I'm wrong. Maybe it's pretty standard. I don't know. But anyways, it's good to go through this process and like really understand what's going on. So yeah, so now the code that I'm writing right here is to refresh the auth token. So this actually needs to say refresh auth token. Yeah, so we're refreshing. So the game client sends a post to or get to the. Well, it really should be a post, shouldn't it? If we do a post, then we can do it quietly. Yeah, let's do a post. Regardless, it'll be in the string, the URL string. We'll do that. I would have preferred more detailed terminology instead of we use OAuth. Yeah. Well, and even on their docs are actually misleading. I won't get into it. But they're way too verbose where they don't need to be, and then they're way too lean where they should be more verbose. It's really frustrating. And it's also, the other thing I'll say is this is Twitch. It's incredible to me that they don't have a test bed to play in to make sure you get everything set up right. That you have to do everything in production is ridiculous. In their production. Like, that you can't... I don't know. That's just so screwy to me. Yeah, they don't have a test platform. They have a CLI to test this stuff with, but that's not... okay, great. You give me a command line for this. Now what? I have to build a whole fake server to like recreate what you guys would be doing. It's just kind of ridiculous. But they have a command line tool that they recommend you test with, but it's not the same. Like you can't do a post to a command line. So, it's like, well, thanks, I guess. I guess I'll fake this entire part of this. Anyways. Somebody's probably made it, for sure. Dude, I think there's... the fact that you generally have to create a middleman for OAuth, like, is anybody out there, has anyone just made a service that you can just pay for that's just like, we're just the guys that do the, like, you give us, we'll take care of your shared secret stuff, and we'll be the guys that do this in-between stuff for you? Or is that, like, not allowed? I don't know. But it feels like that's something that's, like, somebody out there should be making some money doing that. I don't know. I don't like OAuth. I don't know. We've strayed too far from the light. I don't. Okay, so when we get a success back, we're going to take the body of our response and then deserialize it. And let's see what the structure will look like when we get it. We're going to look at refreshing access tokens. So we should get something that looks like this back. So let's build this out. Is this the same as scope, refresh token, access token, and token type? Okay. And then we also get a status and an error, which we're not including in here. So I should actually add that. Error. This is also just screwy. They give you a status when you get an error, but they don't give you a status when it's success. So now I have to, like, I can't just write an if that looks for status number, right? I have to, like, that's so stupid and screwy. I guess what I could do maybe is assign a default value for status. If it's not there, then we get it's just a 200. Maybe. I feel like I tried that and that wasn't. It doesn't work because of error status. So this is going to be an int. And then message. Okay, so that's good. Yeah, in order to encourage me to use the HJKL for navigation in Vim, I've disabled the arrow keys. So when I press the arrow keys, I get a little error at the bottom. So that actually almost immediately made it so I navigate way better. Bordon, though, what's been going on? What have you been doing? They don't have a Twitch library for C# either. I didn't bother checking, and I guess that should have been the first thing I looked at. I feel like they've got like they've got, where is that? They have a list of them somewhere. I don't know. I guess I should have looked for one. But in the end, I mean, it's your responsibility to set up the, like if you're doing the server side thing, you know, it's really up to you to set all that up. But so what I am using a Twitch library for the chat stuff. So for that, I'm using Twitch C#. So somebody's done the work of TwitchLib is what I'm using. But this won't do the work of doing the OAuth stuff. So this expects you to give it the token, but it doesn't do the work of getting the token. And I'm using TwitchLib client here, this. And so this is pretty straightforward for here it is to get it going. And you can subscribe to events, all kinds of events, you know, whispers and new subscriptions and all that stuff through C#. But it won't do. See right here, it's expecting the username and access token, but it doesn't have anything in terms of getting that. But anyways, that work is all done. We're doing the refresh right now. So, and the nice thing too, so I wrote this is it. This is the server that does the OAuth stuff. And this runs, you know, it's only 10, it's going to be a little bit bigger now, but it's only 10 kilobytes. So it's nice to have this little console app rolling on your computer and not need an entire LAMP stack or something, you know, in order to do this. So that's really cool. I really like that. or whatever. I guess LAMP is like out of fashion now, huh? I don't even, the web stack is, I'm an old man. I just static pages. Like most of the web is static. I don't understand anything anymore. I've been uploading new guys to our development team and pretty destroyed at the moment. Is it just hard to onboard? So now let's parse the JSON. So kind of so many questions to answer, code reviews to discuss our general coding styles, setting up Docker. I understand that. Dude, I hate corporate meetings. Your meetings, the way that meetings should work. Let's just go on a little rant here. Okay. You have to keep people's, like, I understand that most companies want to keep people's pay secret, right? So you have to, like, here's my idea. Here's how I would do meetings. Is you need some way of calculating if the cost of the meeting incurred to the company is so high the meeting is not worth having. What I mean to say is that every person that needs to be on that meeting, if they're on a call, their brain is split in half, right? So the cost is like half, right? But if they're physically there, then the cost is like 100%. So now it's like, okay, I need all of these people in this meeting. And it's like, what is the meeting about? And the meeting's about just to get people to make a decision. Well, then there doesn't really need to be a meeting, right? It's like, just present the options to them in an email and let them let there be some sort of deciding process. It's almost like you need some sort of additional thing where people get to vote or have some kind of sidebar conversation thing that then's coalesced into the feeling of a meeting where everyone gets to feel like they get to oversight. But ultimately, the other thing, the reason, dude, the whole thing just sucks because then really what happens is what goes on is they want everybody, like the higher ups want a meeting with everybody there just in case they have a whim of a thought and the right person is there to answer the question. But it's so wasteful. Refinements in Scrum. No, I'm the worst. Like, I would be the worst in that stuff because I would constantly probably talk that stuff down. The jobs that I had, I was like the only guy that coded. So I got so used to just doing that that kind of stuff is totally foreign to me. And I understand when you're with a team, like how that might be necessary, but I can't imagine Scrum or any of that stuff needing to exist in a team of like 3 programmers. So like, I don't understand that at all. But what are refinements in Scrum? I remember I've seen the scene in Silicon Valley, the Scrum scene. I don't know how accurate that is. That meeting is aimed at discussing tickets and making them more clear for all the developers in the team, but some developers just don't research the tickets beforehand. So then it's just answering a bunch of questions about the tickets before you can even discuss the tickets themselves. That sounds awful. Oh man. Yeah. So then what happens is one person gets burdened with knowing everything. I hate Scrum so much. Dude, Scrum is so management, when they're not really IT knowledgeable, management gets sold on things like virtualization and stuff a lot, because it's like the promise of not having to worry about the blinking lights, right? But then ironically, when it comes to managing people, that's all they care about. They want to know what every color the light is for these human beings, right? Then they care about the blinking lights. The actual tech side, they don't want to know and care about that at all. But they always want to know the human side. And I feel like those kinds of systems are meant to make it so they feel like they have lever control over human beings. And I think that the actual toll on the human being is like, that's like, you know, it's got to suck at some point. And some people love that stuff. I feel like the thing about Scrum is there's the kind of people that don't mind, and I don't know much about Scrum, but I imagine it may produce the sensation of a lot of busy work. And I feel like there's some people that just want to get things done, and there's some people that just don't mind at all spinning their wheels and actually love it. They're like, great, I don't actually have to work hard or like do any real work. I can just like, and then the problem with those systems too is people can perpetuate problems to continue to kick the can down. And I don't know if that's true with Scrum or not, but it feels like with a lot of those things, it ends up being that people they'll learn how to game the system, and you're left with people who actually do the work and people who don't. Why can't I? Oh, this isn't. I was trying to get over to this window, but these are actually two separate terminals. A company has been bought a couple of times in the 2 years I've worked. Oh my God, 2 years of acquisitions. 2 years of acquisitions, dude. Holy crap. And each time there'll be a new Scrum coach to help us out and teach their approach. And every time it's a different thing, and it has the same name. It's the cloud all over again. It's it's the cloud, but for human management, like project management. And dude, those are the guys, the Scrum coaches, those are the guys winning the game. They've created an entire industry of support. God, dude, don't even get me started. I hate this shit. You're giving me flashbacks, and I only worked at a bank. I feel like Oracle, I've worked with, it really kicks the fun out of a development job. Yeah, because you don't get to develop. I might be mixing up Scrum with the other one. There's Scrum and Agile, right? But the problem with those things is, you know what it reminds me of? I don't want to piss anybody off. It reminds me of other stuff with tech. I don't even know anymore. Yeah. It's like you've fallen out of faith. It's like you keep getting these different clerics coming in and telling you the one true religion, and it's always different. And you're like, well, but this other guy told us it was this. And they're like, well, no, actually the good book says this. You're like, okay. And you fall for it like 2 times. And then by the third time, you're like, I don't believe anymore. I'm out. Like you just don't believe. You're lost in the woods right now. You need to go on a walkabout. You need the developer equivalent of a walkabout. Okay, so if we get the token back, we need to give this back to our Scrum is a list of best practices, and I wish it was a set of rules at this point. I see what you're saying. I don't even, I'd have to look at it. Let me look at it. Because I'm probably getting Scrum and Agile mixed up. So was this the one that was like Yamaha or something had started it? Is not dramatic enough. I just don't know that this is like conducive to learning and like growing as a developer either. I know, dude. That I love the ending. I think a lot of people didn't like the ending, but I actually really love the ending. Man, that tabs versus spaces thing hits so hard. Cause I'm a big tabs guy. But see, this is a sign. Even the Wikipedia page is a sign that something's gone wrong. That there has to be so much about the history and not about the thing. I don't know. Like that's a warning that something's gone wrong with it. And I think that what happens is you get interested parties in, because what happens is upper management's always looking for a quick fix. And so you end up getting these people who sell you on coaching and sell you on, like right now, and I'm not meaning to get political, but right now, a lot of the, like diversity initiatives and stuff, there's just a lot of people that are just kind of making money that aren't really doing anything. And so they have all these initiatives and things that they push, and there's plenty of people there to make money to really screw up a company. They make bank. Yeah, it's true. And the problem is that that Scrum might actually be really good, but not when you bring in these people that want to perpetuate their existence, right? They want you to have problems with Scrum. Otherwise, they don't exist, right? Their initiative, their interests don't necessarily lie where you think they would, where it's like, oh, they actually want to solve this problem. It's like, no, they want to have this problem exist so they can be there to solve it. And that's like completely wrong. If I was a lazy extrovert, I knew what job I'd be doing for early retirement. Yeah, seriously. And that's the thing that sucks too, is when you're on the receiving end of the guy, you're the guy that does the stuff. You smell the bullshit immediately. And it's like, but there's nothing you could do about it because your boss is the one who brought this down, right? And so, son, how's it going? We're just talking about Scrum. Man, it just seems like there's a lot that you'd have to know. Oh. Maybe you could write a Scrum coach in ChatGPT. What's wrong? You're scaring me. Woke up to the news today. Breaking news. The lovable gecko we all know and love. The Geico gecko who saves your money on car insurance. But now we find out he has a dark side. Miami PD released this statement. At this time, we don't know the extent of the damages and injuries, but our thoughts and prayers are with the victims of this horrible incident. This after the gecko drank twice his weight and crashed his Porsche into a Barbie party house. Geico has denied to make any comment on this situation. Now to the weather. I love the idea that he has like a dark side. Like he's got like 3 extended families, like that he's he has this appearance of being this upstanding family gecko, but he's got like 3 mistresses and like, you know, like 7 kids that are out of marriage. Like, okay. So we can do this through a post if we build the response back. Let me think about this. If we get this through a post, so this is going to come in to us. So we've got the listener, we get the refresh, and now we want to, okay, we're doing our own post with HTTP client. Now we want to build our response. So we're going to build a body back that has the data that we want to send to them, which is just going to be an echo of the JSON we got in the first place. You're one of the 10 streamers to actually read the whole thing. Ego steroids. I get it though. I mean, if your chat's, you know, a flood, I can get having to skip that stuff. This is the kind of chat when you're a big streamer. That's the kind of thing where it would be really interesting to build like some sort of AI thing or algorithm or something to filter out the chat log. I set it up though. You got me interested. I thought you were going to say something happened to your family or something. They're just too lazy to read. It's hard. It's hard. I have sympathies for I get it. All right. So now we're going to write a reply. I can't remember how to do that. So that's... This is going to say, we're going to call this the post response. See, this is the kind of thing I need to get better at Vim on to do the find and replace real quick. You make code, I make comedy. Secretly. Apparently he loved like dirty jokes, according to his wife. Okay, so this is an HTTP listener response. So let's look that up. You know what I'm going to do really quick here? Because I'm constantly searching the .NET. I believe there's a here. Okay, so we can do a search term here. So I'm going to turn this into my own little search. So if I did HTTP listener response, and if I spell it right, okay. So let's turn this into a search for our browser. So we'll go settings, search, and then we're going to build our own. Where is it? Here we go. So we need like a .NET. We have Blender and Godot. Let's add can we do .NET? Can we do .NET again here for shortcut? And then we put a %s here, add. So now if I type up here .NET, then I can say HTTP listener response, and then we get this. Okay. That should help me a little bit, if I remember. I made that joke when asked to change the subject. It used to start with, in other news. Okay, so in the response, we want to build our gets a stream object to which the response can be written. So it's the output stream. All right, and this is where we can build our body. And yeah, you know, there's only a few celebrities that really hit me hard that died. When they died, it kind of got to me. I think for me, when the biggest one when I was young was Jim Henson, and that was completely avoidable, which is what really sucked about it. He literally worked himself to death, and he just died of the flu. Robin Williams, that was a tough one too, especially how, you know. But, you know, it sounds like he was actually dealing with like some neurological thing that was causing him to, it wasn't like, oh, it was literally, he was fighting something that maybe he couldn't win. Okay, so we're not going to put the client information into the body. We just need to build a buffer and then add it to the output stream. So this is all we're going to do. So it's going to look like this. Okay, so I like how I'm just ripping the code out from their example. Let's see, can we do visual? And then tab it. There we go. Okay, so in the body, in the buffer, we're just gonna throw in the JSON. JSON! If we just echo the JSON out. So I guess we could just copy the body that we got from the post request and send it in our response. That's so lazy. I'll take it. Okay. I mean, because all we're doing is we're confirming that we got a successful status code. We're deserializing the JSON, and we're checking if the token is not null, then we're just repeating the JSON response back into our body. And then the game client can just grab that. So the game client really is going to expect to receive the refresh access token is literally going to come back this way. We're just repeating what we got back from our request. I mean, I guess if we could validate that it is JSON, we could just do both. Like even if it's a bad request. And then on the client end, that's probably a good way to do it. Okay, let's try compiling this, make sure it works. So this is over on our, this is the server that's running this right now. So it's just a little console thing. Let's try and build it. HTTP listen response contain a definition for content and no extension method content of type could be found. This is on line 116. Let's go back. G116G. Is it 116G? G? There we go. Mac. Yeah. I was originally coding. Dude, that's the other thing about. Never got good performance out of it. Out of the Mac. Or well, it's not a VM. I'm actually VNC'd into one of my. I have an old Mac that I'm having act as the server. It's a good computer I can just leave on. One of the reasons why I'm coding, so the server client stuff is actually the server console thing is I'm writing that in Mono. I was told that I needed to do that in order to be backwards compatible for the age of the Mac that I have. I don't know if that's 100% true or not. But so far I haven't run into too many issues. .NET HTTP listener response does not contain a definition for content. No extension could be found. So did I grab content wrong? Let's see. HTTP listener response. So let's look for content. It doesn't have one. Oh, we're looking for the post response. That's not confusing. I grew up with OS X and Linux. I prefer it over Windows. Need Windows for work, unfortunately. I'm the same way. I kind of enjoy the Mac. But I had an iMac that I was, it was like almost 13, 14 years old. And it just croaked on me, and I just don't have the money to replace it. And I haven't bothered to try and get Linux going. But yeah, I'm kind of the same way. In the early aughts is when I started getting into Linux. I worked at a small ISP and was really into talking to the guys that actually did computing, and they helped me kind of get over my fears of getting started on that. So I mean, back in the day, what was my flavor of Linux back in the day? I actually think I was in the early aughts. I liked it wasn't Gentoo. What was the one with the gecko? SUSE? That was the one. I liked that one when I was in the early aughts. And I think now I would go with not Crunchbang now. I think now I would go with not Arch. I'm not hardcore enough for Arch, but is it Manjaro? That's the one that's basically Arch, but a little bit like idiot friendly. Fedora's all right. when I'm doing server stuff, it's always oh my god, why am I blanking on it? The GNU one. What's the GNU Linux one? Fuck. What is it? Debian. Oh my god, I don't know why it took me so long to think of it. So for server stuff, I'm if I just need like a thing to have a terminal to access, then it's Debian. AppSkip for life. Okay, so now can we compile? Yeah, we compiled. Debbie and Ian are legendary. They're just great people. That's the other funny thing about like Linux distros. I never know how to say any of them. Like I remember, what was the one Ubuntu that there was a brief period where that was good. But for me, when I'm actually running like a GUI, I actually like XFCE. Wow, I just read this. Debbie and Ian eventually divorced, and years later, he committed suicide. Wait, what? Debian is named after two people? How did I not know this? Are you serious right now? I did not know this. Wait, are you pulling my leg? What? How did I not know this? Later, he committed suicide. Died 2015, 42. Asphyxiation, he hung himself. Vacuum cleaner electrical cord. Wow. Weird. Look at this. No, this is bizarre. I didn't even know that it was, I had no idea. Huh. It's a good play on words, Debian. Because I had no idea. This is crazy. No, this is like a piece of history I didn't even know about. Crazy. Huh. Yeah, but for me, XFCE, like, that's pretty close to the, it's funny because it goes back to the Steve Jobs when he left Apple and built I can't remember what it was called, but what eventually OS X took on with Objective-C and all that stuff. God, what was that platform called? But XFCE is like the closest that it reminds me a lot of that OS. BSD? No, it wasn't BSD. It was Steve Jobs. Next OS. Now we're getting completely distracted. Or next step. Was it next step? Yeah. So next step, look at this. This is XFCE right here. That's why I like I like it. This is XFCE is totally just aping this, which I don't think is a bad thing. '89. I feel like there's real power in this stuff. And I feel like the OS is not used in a old OS X hello system. Like the old 9, like let's see, hello system. Oh wow, okay. Dude, don't even get me started. Like OS X, as much as I like Mac, I do think basically it's slowly, progressively getting worse since Snow Leopard. Like, I believe my personal tastes and like the peak of OS X was Snow Leopard, and it's just slowly been going downhill, especially as they start to integrate all this iOS stuff into it. Or do they call it iOS anymore? I don't even know. See, I don't even. But it just feels like it's like lost sight of what it was. Yeah. Big Sur came out. I cried. What they do to you, girl. You know what I equate modern OSs? Like, even with Windows, I feel like Windows peaked at, for me, it was XP. XP was like as close as you could get to perfection. It could always get better, but it never did, you know? But, yeah, like, it's hard to put my finger on it, but they ruined iPhoto. Like, iPhoto used to be so good, and then they just broke it and made it like 10 times worse. And they're starting to do the Windows thing where nothing is consistent anymore. And there's like, you go to places and you can tell this is the new way, but the old way is still in there. They didn't just flip a switch and go all the way in. Everything is big menus behind other menus. Yeah. Yeah, it was when they introduced the maybe Snow Leopard had that. I can't remember. But they introduced the whole widget thing, and that was probably the first sign that something was going wrong. This isn't the right Snow Leopard. Oops. I can't remember if Snow Leopard did the widgets. I don't think it did. But that's really like that was it, where it was like, okay, something's not right here. And then they started ripping out all of the cool stuff, like the DVD authoring. Let's get rid of that. Like, let's completely break iPhoto so that it's not useful anymore. Let's like, it just kept getting worse. It's really a bummer. But so what I was saying though is, for me, the way that I see OS is it's like a celebrity of I don't mean to be insulting when I say this. It's not like meant to be like a gendering thing, but when a female celebrity ages, there's two routes they take. they either start doing a lot of like surgery, facial stuff, surgeries, and like trying to stay young looking, right? And when they do that, it actually, they just lose all their beauty, and they turn into like a weird plasticine monster looking thing. I'm not saying this in the cleanest way possible, but by trying to be the OSs right now, by trying to be like new and young and relevant, they're like constantly getting facelifts and like tucks and all this stuff, and it's like making them ugly. But yeah, this was peak here. This is what made me go to OS X. So maybe it's a little bit of like nostalgia or something. But when I saw, accurate analogy, I found macOS unusable until usable till the El Capitan facelift. Yeah, there were minor inconveniences, but when the UI became so much worse, I was out. Seriously. And now they're doing things like, it's getting so bad, like you can't use, like the computer can't age gracefully either. Like even if you decided not to change it and update it, right? You can't do anything on it anymore because they keep like not gatekeeping things out, but like the way that Mac makes it so that you have to update your software to be like, the App Store was a Trojan horse. That's another thing. That was another thing that like was a warning sign that something's wrong, because by doing that, they ensured that when the new OSs came out, if you embraced the App Store as a developer, you were trapped in the cycle of having to constantly rehook your software back into the new OS release. And by doing that, they ensure over time that anything you purchase from the App Store acts as a Trojan horse, which requires you to refresh hardware, because they tie hardware to software so much now. Like even the idea of the portable binary just isn't a thing on Mac anymore because it's so tied to the OS. I wish you could buy a new MacBook and install an old version. Maybe some hardcore hobbyists could do it. You could probably VM it. I mean, the M2s are so fast. No, it's yeah. I mean, there's that talk from Jonathan Blow about the collapse of civilization, and he ties it back to software. They have all these stupid notches. I don't even know, dude. And I have a perfectly, dude. We have these iMacs. They're perfectly fast. They could run the modern OS, but Apple's like, nah, with nothing in it. I don't even know what you're talking about. What are you talking about? We're going to do a fake. I guess we can just try and get a refresh token. Let's try and run this on the server. So this is the server it's running on. So we're going to just start the client up again. And I love, let me, how big is our executable? So yeah, we're still 10, just about 11. I love how tiny it is. It makes me so happy. So this is something I don't understand about .NET. Everything the app needs that I add as an include, is that compiled into the application, or is .NET an additional thing that needs to be installed on the OS that the app is talking to? So when it's running, let's search for mono. I mean, it's not even. It's running 1 megabyte of memory. I love this. I do love this. Screw PHP. Like, why would you look at this? Oh, it scores. Okay. So now let's try and do we're going to try and do a post to it. So let's open up our little tool here to do that. We have here's the information. Okay. Yeah, I mean, I used to, back in the early days of the Mac stuff, I listened to a lot of the 5x5 podcasts, like with I can't even remember their names right now, but Dan something and the guy who did that blog, the guy who created Markdown. God, what was his name? John Gruber. That's right. Does he still have his website? Yeah. Video posted illustrating Mac Pro notch problem, in which status bar items can end up hidden beneath the notch. Daring Fireball, yeah. But since I'm so out of it, I wouldn't care anymore, you know. Snazzy Labs owner. Menu bar items wrap around the notch, which also reveals an inconsistency in the way Mac OS handles the mouse pointer. First entitled, who designed this? Illustrates what happens in an app when enough menu bar items. Let me see what they're talking about. I need to see this in video. Oh, come on, Twitter. Oh my God, everything sucks now. It's all just getting worse. I'm signed in. I don't want to redirect after logged in because I'm signed in, Twitter. No. No, take me to the link. They didn't even link to the tweet. Oh, here it is. Oh, God. And now this is broken because Twitter won't. Just breathe. Oh, my God. Okay, so they deleted it, I guess. Maybe. But I don't know. It's not telling me. No, that's a pic. Give me the tweet. Where's the tweet? I want to see the tweet. It's not scrolling and refreshing. 31 tweets. Did he flush all of his tweets out? Or is this Twitter being broken? Seriously, dude, it's so frustrating. 31 tweets. So it looks like he deleted all his old tweets. God. Oh, well. If the finder isn't focused and the behavior is different, the pointer can be lost and hidden inside the notch. What's the notch? I don't even know what the notch is. I want to know what the notch is. The hell's the notch? Oh, this thing? Oh! What the hell? Dude, Steve Jobs would never. That's the thing. I even think that about the VR thing. Right. The VR thing would, like the cord and all that, that would never happen. And I don't, there's a lot of things I don't respect about that guy, but I feel like there's no overarching person saying no or yes to stuff. And there's only a webcam in there. This is unacceptable. What the hell? Dude, this is unbelievable. That I didn't even know this was a thing. I used to really excitedly watch the WWDC stuff and all that. And so I'm totally out of the loop on this, but I can't even believe that they did this. This is unbelievable. Cuz I mean you're creating you now have to ask the developers to be aware of this for the rest of eternity until they finally drop support for it. Because this is going to go away. This is going to be like a weird flash in the pan thing that they did, and then it goes away. But now you have to have this is like Nintendo controller thing, where it's like this weird thing that you have to have support for like one console release. Anyways. All right, so we're going to try and do a post here. We can form ours. So it's going to go to refresh. So let me, I need to get a lot of my ducks in a row here before I can even test this. We're going to go to bin. And then we have this client here. And we're going to post to ourselves, which is, I don't even know what it is anymore. Let me go to ngrok. No, the VR thing is so creepy. The eyes thing, it's just like, and the idea of somebody wearing that for a birthday party to never lose the moment or whatever, and it's like, but you're not there when it happens. So what's the point? What's the point of not having that? Like what I don't know that. Yeah. So I still have a ton of work I have to do with ngrok to get it to be hooked up right. I've got to get a subdomain pointed to it and misheard what? Copy. Link address. Okay, so here it is. So this is the address, and then it's going to be refresh. Is that what I did? Refresh. Okay, so /refresh. Yeah, ngrok. Yeah. So that's what I'm using. My internet kind of sucks, and I can't open up ports, so I'm using ngrok as the just a way of setting up a web server without having to do all this other work. It's great. I can do it for free, so that's what we're doing. But yeah, eventually I need to get I need to set up the Ngrok API stuff to talk to Cloudflare to update, to have a subdomains out on the web that I can have the app always point to. I didn't know they had an actual GUI. Oh no, this is just a client for sending testing posts and stuff. But I don't know the I couldn't remember the URLs constantly changing, and I don't have anything set up for that dynamic nature yet. I need to get on the server side. I need to get it hooked into their API so that it can talk to the Cloudflare API to update the DNS to be like, here's the new, tunnel location. I think I can do that. We'll find out. And then that way, the app itself is always going to send posts to that subdomain or whatever I set up, so that that never changes. But because I don't have a lot of money to do this, and I need to be as cheap as possible, so I have to do a bunch of extra work in order to do it for free. Even though it's like $5 a month, but I really don't want to spend money on this and forget about it, and then suddenly in a year I've spent, $50 or $60 on something that's just sitting there that like one person paid for a game for. Nice thing about building this out too as a little console app is like eventually once I do need a server, it's just a little tiny thing that I just pop in and start running, and it's gonna need very little. It'll be teensy tiny. And I definitely am not a fan of trying to approach this from the serverless perspective. I'm not gonna spend my time doing that. If and when I need something that I don't have to host myself, then I'll just pay for a really cheap server that's always on. This is the it's a Twitch chat game. I haven't been able to show it in forever. It's like a volleyball game, and so the idea being that people can join the game, and then there's put onto different teams, and then they serve the ball over, and then somebody will either bump or set the ball, and then somebody else can spike the ball over, and the ball, depending on what command the person does, the ball is assigned to somebody to return dynamically. And so in the chat it says the ball's headed to you, and you have to hit it back, that kind of thing. So you got these little volleyball players on the screen playing volleyball back and forth, basically. But we're having to do all the OAuth stuff. So we're done with most of it. It's just we need to renew our token. So I have to get that set up. That's what I'm working on right now. It's controlled via chat. Yeah, I can't show you it right now, unfortunately. But soon, next week we'll be rolling again with it, and then I'm going to be working on getting it getting it fine tuned and really nice. But I can tell you that I'm using. Maybe there's a clip on my. Maybe I have a clip of it going at some point. I don't know. Is there a clip on my channel somewhere? Maybe. Let's mute that. No, don't unmute. I don't want to hear myself. Let's see. How do you go to your, how do you look at your videos? I don't even know how to do anything on Twitch. Where do I go to see my, here we go. Videos, popular clips. I don't know. Do we have any clips of the, filter by clips, top. All time. Trying to see. Oh, here's a. This was a while ago. It looks totally different now. You have to believe me. This is broken too. The what was going on here. But anyways, a bunch of people can play. There's different, you have different, like the sprites I stole from, for now from, Super Dodgeball on the NES, and but yeah, you can drop in and out whenever, and it's cool. It's cool stuff. Wow, there's a lot of clips here. I've never looked at this. Dear God. Huh. Is there any highlights? I don't know. Anyways. But yeah, it's coming along. I'm trying to get it ready for sale, so I have to do all this other stuff. Okay, so we need to send to refresh. We're specifically just sending a refresh token. So that we can use through Git. So question mark refresh token, which I guess is a little redundant. And then let's grab that token because we actually have it right here. We're going to steal it. Don't look. Close your eyes. Close your eyes, guys. And then let's just try this. We'll do that and hit it. Bad gateway. Okay. So, do we not? Refresh. Oh, you know what? We didn't add, we did not add the prefix refresh. There we go. So let's do that. And then I got to recompile and start the damn app over again on the server. This is the thing that I need to get to be a little bit more automated for testing purposes. All right. So recompile, run it again. Got to give it the password. Nobody look at the reflection in my glasses. And then we're going to go back over to our post here. Bad gateway. Son of a biscuit. It's right there. I just added it. Did I not save? Maybe I didn't save. Sometimes I don't save. I saved. And I saved. Refresh. Okay, well let's just try to go to it. I want to go to there. Copy link clean. /refresh. By the sun and the moon. Connection refused. Well, what about if we go to code? Oops, not codes. In the sky. Connection refused. What is going on? I've had this happen. The only way I could get it fixed is to restart the Mac for some reason. And I swear. Let's do localhost here. By the sun and the moon in the sky. I'll be there. Cannot connect to server. Let's kill this. And if we do this again, same error. Come on in, buddy. It's hot out there. You stay warm or stay cool in here. There you go. I missed you. I missed you. Oh, this pup. This is the greatest pup ever. You need to be good with the mouthing and not bite my wife, okay? Can you do that? Can you do that? Can you be a good boy? Can you be a good boy? Can you be a good boy? Can you be good? You're hot. You need to chill out. Cool off. Here you go. Go get it. Okay. So it's not running again. Super creative product. I liked experimenting with unique control schemes. Also like the dog cam. Yeah. Yeah, he's still a puppy. He just showed up on our property recently and just sort of adopted us. But he's very malnourished. We're trying to get him to gain some weight. And he's got a couple of things we need to train out of him, but he's a very good dog. But he's very much a puppy. And he's chewing, like, we have to constantly give him things to chew on, otherwise he'll destroy everything. But apparently that doesn't go away with German Shepherds, as we're finding out. But let me increase the color, because that's a little, the saturation's a little low. Let's bring that up. A little too high. It's a little desaturated. That's pretty good. Super rewarding. Yeah. I mean, he loves us, and he just, like, he's really good dog as far as, he stays on our porch. Like, we have a pretty decent sized property. Are you free on the July the 30th? What's GM? Do you have a link? Is it on itch? First game night jam. Let's see. Recbox Games is hosting our first game jam to get developers involved with our new console, the Game Night. Our console is best suited to support tabletop-style games, but you can stretch the bounds of that genre as much as you like. Try something entirely unique. You will utilize a primary display like a TV as your game board and the mobile device of each player as their private display and control interface. We have supporting libraries for Unity and Godot, as well as direct libraries for C, C++, and Rust. If you use a different engine or framework, please let us know. We may be able to accommodate you. Theme is meant for inspiration, will allow you to interpret it however you like. There may also be enter any style of game you want. Keep in mind that players will be using their phones as controllers, and a touchscreen interface is not conducive to high dexterity gameplay like platforming. Game night. We're a console startup. Interesting. Game night is a controllerless gaming console designed for... So how... Without the console... Just out of curiosity, is the console just a... Okay. Social games. Several free games and a store to browse by others. Let's see. So you're Weston. What a handsome man. Look at you. Let's see. Round the clock, I think, blah, blah, blah. So where is the... I'm just curious about, like, from the dev process, like, testing this and everything without the console, what does that look like? Utilize a primary display. So is that being sort of emulated in the game that I'm making? What does that look like? The bottom of the jam page. Okay, let's go look there. Rules. Here we go. Download the Game Night Control Pads plugin. Okay. You'll need to run our Control Pads test server. This program that emulates parts of our console and allows your game to communicate with web browsers. You can get that here. Okay. Right now, your best bet for developing the custom controls is the phone browser. So is the phone broadcasting part of the game and doing the rendering of the game and sending that to the console, and it's acting more like a streaming box? But yeah, it's a little more complicated in the traditional development. So what I'll say is, have you heard of, no, the game runs on the console itself. Okay. Interesting. Okay. So there are going to be like limitations and thresholds to like graphical fidelities and things like that. Not reliant on the phone, but on the console. So, next question. I mean, I'm totally interested in doing this. And actually, you know what I'd love to do is talk to you. I'm sort of doing an impromptu, not really a podcast, but kind of, on Thursdays generally is when I'm trying to line that up. I talk to different game developers and stuff and talk to them about the games. I'd love to try and work something out where I actually get you on the horn and talk about this thing as a whole. But I don't have like a huge audience or anything though. So sorry, I'm just kind of grepping everything. Yeah, okay, so what I was going to say, this makes me think of something. Oh God, I'm going to have to remember. Hang on, let me try and find it. There's a game, the Star Trek game kind of stole it. The idea. That one VR Star Trek game. You guys know what I'm talking about? Let me shoot. I'm trying to remember there was a YouTube channel that featured the OG game. It was a mobile game. Golly, what was it called? I don't even know the YouTube channel. Star Trek, Starship multiplayer mobile game. Is this going to give me something? Damn. This isn't going to work. Anyways, there was a Starship game where the Star Trek Fleet Commander or whatever the heck it was called, they totally ripped it off from these guys, intentional or not, I don't know. But it was like one person was the captain, one person was like logistics, one person was engineering, one person was weapons. And so that kind of thing would work really good for something like this for sure. And then there's just the Jack, you don't know Jack games, and like shoot, what are those games that they release like annually? You know what I'm talking about. Interesting though. Yeah, just pencil me in. Jackbox, that's what I'm thinking of. Jackbox. Yeah. Well, tying it to a console is interesting because then you know what, like, it's a whole, that's what it's about. I feel like I'm just going to, like, personally, I feel like maybe this should look more, now I'm like critiquing, but I feel like you should just go all in the, like, party mobile game space thing with the design of the console and like make this thing super colorful. But I don't know what that would do to like production and cost and all that kind of stuff. Cause like I know like if you're not going to go with gray plastic suddenly but like I feel like maybe you should go like really hard on it for the look of the thing. But that's just like me just kind of think. But anyways, it doesn't matter. Like it should be something that when you have it under the TV, people are like, "What's that?" And it's like, "Oh, you got your cell phone." Color's kind of tough, but I do think you're right in terms of getting it to be more playful to design. It could totally be like a conversation starter thing if it's like this, not weird, but this like really. But again, it's tough because it's got to be like in the American market, especially, and this is what console manufacturers know is you got to have like, but I'll say I'm kind of all over the place on my thoughts right now because this is kind of interesting. But you know, the PS5, for instance, basically has brought back the idea of like tail fins for cars. It looks ridiculous. It's like the hot rod space thing, right? But this is really cool. Yeah, so I guess on the 30th is when it starts, so I can join. Am I signed in? I'm signed in. I'll join. And then how many days is it going to be for? Let's see. When 48-hour jam. Oof. Starts on Friday. Okay. Because I'm a dad. This is a little hard. I just think it's like intentionally. Oh, wow. There's cash prizes. I'm in. Hell yeah. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Maybe I'll hit you up in the Twitch DMs. Let me open up your page here. And I'm actually no. We got an hour. About an hour left. Although I should probably eat. But yeah, I'll definitely do it. I like the idea. Golly, now I'm I mean, I know somebody who was in the. This is a weird way to go about it. If I search Adam Sessler, he was doing this for a little bit. He was in Rev 3. Okay, so it was Rev 3. So now if I search Rev 3 on YouTube, I might be able to find it. Rev 3 games YouTube. Star Trek. Hopefully this will bring something up. 5. Artemis. Here we go. So this, if you can get a hold of these guys, this might be something you want to look into as well. But this is on Steam, I believe. But this is a great video. They totally go all in on it. But it's this exact setup where there's a primary display, just like in Star Trek, the viewport, right? And then everyone's just like on their phones doing their different their different stations and stuff like that. So it totally would translate to this perfectly. So definitely recommend like maybe looking into this for it. He's passed out right now. But Weston, it's really nice to meet you. I'll try and set something up if you're interested in talking about the console, for sure. Because that'd be great. I love. There's people that I'm constantly talking about controller input for consoles and how bland it is and how I feel like the input can change the games. But he's looking super sweet right now. You're looking super handsome. Little sleepy guy. But anyways, yeah. I'll start thinking about ideas. I'm already like getting ideas. But that's why I'm into the Twitch chat stuff, because I'm interested in that there's different ways of playing video games besides just twin sticks and a bunch of buttons and that's it, right? Like, I actually think that's one of the most disruptive things that the Wii did, was come in and say, it's just this thing you hold. You already know how to hold a stick and swing it around or whatever. And then it just sort of, the problem with the Wii was it was such a fad. It fell into the fad space that it didn't, and then Nintendo really botched the Wii U and like all that stuff. But like, I mean, one of my favorite videos within that space is the guy who, Wii headset tracker, the guy who did the demo of head tracking. So basically reversing Johnny Chung. He reversed the idea of the IR bar and put it on a pair of glasses. So the IR bar was on, you were wearing the IR bar and it was blasting IR out. And then you put the Wiimote pointing from the TV towards that. And then suddenly you had head tracking. And check this out. From the perspective of the user, this is what you got. It was amazing. Turn the volume up. And look at this. Could you? I mean, that's so cool. Yeah. Man. And there's no, I mean, the 3D is in your mind, you know? Imagine combining this with some sort of like, with the 3D TVs or something. Just, you don't even need VR. This is ideal for VR stuff, in my opinion, because you don't have to wear a damn headset. I've never seen this guy. I'll check him out. Let me subscribe. I'm already in. I can tell. But anyways, he has another demo that he does in real time. But anyways, but yeah, different inputs and playing around with that. I'll start thinking about ideas and stuff before the jam comes out, before the theme. I mean, it's funny because I feel like just the console itself is the theme. The input in the play, that alone is enough for just a million ideas. But yeah, I think it's really cool. I'm intrigued. But yeah, let me try and get back to work here. But So I have this connection issue happen occasionally. The theme is super loose. If you come up, it doesn't fit. That's good too. Okay. Yeah. I mean, there's the obvious, dude, any board game can be translated into that. And I actually feel the same way with chat games, but I do think that there's like ideal ones. But having a system where you have the board game and you don't have to set it up is like great. Because some of the, first of all, board games take up a ton of space. So any board game could translate into this, what you've built, right? And then rolling dice, like if you can roll the dice, like with the phone, and then like, I don't know how you would detect that the release has happened, but you could totally like, I guess when you stop or like, I don't know, you could do something for rolling dice and stuff like that would be really interesting. Even like multiple phones, I'm starting to think about. But I wonder, can you tap into what can you tap into on the phone side? Let me go back to. Did I already close the link you sent me? I think I did. You said it was at the bottom of the. Can't do motion detection yet. Okay. Yeah, motion and camera. Those would be two things that definitely want to be able to tap into. We'll have a PPP eventually, but we're limited by the browser currently. An app. I see. Okay. Okay, I get it. Okay, so you just run it. Yeah, thank you. I think so too. I think it's interesting. I'm going to keep those open. So the server's not running. I almost wonder if I need to restart bash. This bash. Let's grab our command here and we'll just do a new shell. And then we need to go to cd programs, OAuth, and paste. Okay, we're running again. Still not able to hit it. Oh yeah. Let me hit up the Discord. Join that. This is I have Discord installed. Why? Man, it's so frustrating. Okay, let me do this off screen. Thanks for the follow, Weston. Thanks, and yeah, I'm interested. I wish you luck too. I hope it works out. I hope I can actually contribute to the jam. And I have some people in chat and stuff that might be interested in joining me. All right, so I joined. Now, is it on my... Yeah, it should be on the top of my Discord now. So great that it does it in this way. Okay. Welcome, man. Who's this? Oh, Weston joined. All right, thank you. I'll say hi in a little bit. I gotta go soon. My mom's got a treatment, and I go to every single one. So, So let me try. I mean, if the server's running, I should be able to ping localhost, right? So if I do ping, well, that's me though. This is what's confusing. What do we set to run on? What port? We're on 80 as default. No, it should be the same URL. I've had this happen before, and it's probably going to have to get a new URL. I have to restart the whole damn thing. Occasionally, though, for whatever reason, I think there's like a phantom running listener, and I can't get to the... it's like not actually... Because right now I don't have any exception handling for when we try and start the listener. And so I'm guessing that it's bombing, and I'm not handling that, so I'm not returning an error. So maybe I could just really quick, let's just write some code for that and get that going. So .NET HTTP listener. Look at that. Now I can just you know what, it would always help if I spell listener right, because I'm a little slow when it comes to that. So how do we handle any exceptions? It's going to happen on start, so let's look up start. Okay. A Win32 function failed. Called failed. Well, when I try to load it in the browser on the Mac, and I'm getting the same thing where it's acting like it's not running. So if I actually try and go to localhost here, /code, that should be something, but it's not. Or do I need the trailing slash? And then :80, just to be sure. Which, I mean, that's literally the port. In the code, we're doing, when the callback fires, we're we're grabbing the absolute path, and then we're looking for which one we're getting. We're not building a response unless it's one of these. So if I tried to load root of localhost, I'm not going to get anything. I guess what I could do is write an exception. I could write just a case. Can you handle on a switch statement? Can you do a like a else? Default. Okay. So let's do that. We'll make a default here. And if that fires, then we can say something special here. Oops. I can type. No case in front, just default. Oh, okay, I gotcha. Thanks. All right. And I'll steal the output code I wrote here. And we'll paste that in here. And we'll just say hello. Hello. Hello there. That's what we'll say. Hello there. Then we need to stop it and compile. Run it again. We'll just try to go to root. Okay, let's write the exception that I was talking about, just to see if something's going wrong, at least I can know what. Because right now, if it's failing, it's doing so silently. I don't know how to... Deflux, it's going good. I actually don't know how to handle exceptions in C#. So maybe we should learn that. I don't know how that works. Result. Start exception. Exception? Errors in the program at runtime are propagated through the program by using a mechanism called exceptions. Exceptions are thrown by code that encounters an error and caught by code that can correct the error. Exceptions can be thrown by .NET runtime or by code in a program. Once an exception is thrown, it propagates up the call stack until a catch statement for the exception is found. Uncaught exceptions are handled by a generic exception handler provided by the system that displays a dialog box. Exceptions are represented by classes derived from exception, test throw, custom exception. Then we test throw, and then we catch exceptions. Try and catch. So does that mean we need to throw it in a try block? After an exception is thrown, the runtime checks the current statement to see whether it is within a try block. If it is, any catch blocks associated with a try block are checked to see whether they catch the exception. Catch blocks typically specify exception types, and that's custom exception. Okay, so if I say HTTP listener exception, so we're looking like this. We try, so on start here, we're going to try paste. Let's get this in line and then say, I don't like that catch. And this is going to be a HTTP listener exception, and they did like exe, so we'll just copy that just to be it's declared but never used. Console write line exe to string, so then we can just say to string. Let's do that. Console write line exe to string. Okay, so let's figure out what the hell's going on. What is going on? All right, so we built there's no exception. Okay, so there's no exception on starting it. So let's continue down the rabbit hole. I could attach the debugger and set some breaks. How about we do that? Let's see if we actually get... let's start it up. I was having a problem with the debugger just crashing on me when I would try to attach. So we'll see if that happens. Yeah, my mom's got a treatment, so I got to try and get some work in before we head out. Invalid host. This is a new message. Weird. But that's maybe a good sign because we don't have. So maybe /code. Hey! It's working now. Why is it working all of a sudden? What the hell is going on? All right, let's just run. And we'll go back to here. Okay, so now we're working. Why are we just working all of a sudden? That's not a good feeling. Okay, well, whatever. Let's test the post. What is going on? Or the get. 200 okay. The body came back. Whoa, why are we... Oh no. Okay, there's our access token. All right, so I just piped the body out and can we okay, so obviously, hang on. So let me go back to the code. That's the actual buffer. What did I do wrong? What did I do wrong? Oh, we put it in a string. That should still work. Get bytes. Huh. Okay. All right, hang on a second. I'm going to be right back. I got to go tinkle. And then we'll be back at it. So give me a second. I'm gonna try to sneak away so the dog stays asleep. Because he seems real comfortable.
Yeah, he's. Sometimes I can sneak out and he'll sleep through it, but I accidentally knocked over the fan. And he was like, "What? Leaving without me, Papa? You want some apple?" It's a dream dog. I've always wanted a German Shepherd. And then he just appeared and was like, "Take me." It's really weird. It's also possible there's another breed that looks a lot like a German Shepherd. It's possible he's that. But I think the ears are the giveaway. Because they have a very distinct, like, they have those really alert looking ears. And the personality type seems to fit. Melanoise, or I don't know how to say that. Yeah, that's the one. And they're falling out of favor, but they're pretty closely, pretty close on the. Yeah, these look more like dingoes. He doesn't have that look. They can be quite dangerous. Yeah, I mean, I think it's about a lot about socialization. I think with a lot of breeds, it's people will treat or handle them a certain way that can make them dangerous. But there's also just like the inherent nature of the dog in what it was meant for. Like, you know, I do have like I don't like seeing, you know, pit bulls that aren't on leashes and stuff, because those dogs are meant to bite and not release, and that's what they do, you know. So that those kinds of dogs really concern me. The thing that we have to worry about with him is, one, they're very suspicious of new people, so introducing people to him, you know, and letting them know that, you know, they're okay and everything like that. And also, like, with him, it seems like with children, he's very young though, so I think a lot of this, you know, we can train out of him. But with children, he seems to think of them more as like animals to be herded, and we don't want him to do that. So those are the two things. But so far, he's shown no signs of like aggression whatsoever. But he's real mouthy. He uses his mouth a lot. And that's another thing. We just want to try to stop a redirect to something else. But he'll just like, and just like put his mouth on you. Like, it's absolutely in play, but obviously we don't want that. So. What is that? Let me see. Bernese Mountain Dog. Was this it? That looks like a collie, but just like real furry. Ah, no, but he's got, it looks like they've got a little bit of Bernard. It looks like St. Bernard's a little bit in there. Like, they have a St. Bernard looking face. That totally looks like a St. Bernard, just like wearing a costume. It's like a St. Bernard in a collie costume. But they look like they might be smaller than that. Such a big goofy dog. That's the thing about the shepherd, the German shepherd, that they are very suspicious of strangers. It's interesting because large groups of people, he's fine, but when we're walking and there's one person coming towards us, that's when we have to like, you know, start like, it's okay, you know, we're just gonna walk by and we're gonna say hello and everything's gonna be fine, and like shove a treat in his mouth and everything, and just let him know that like everything's fine. But because otherwise, if we don't do that, he's gonna be like, oh, that person's bad. That's a person by themselves. Am I talking about you? Should I be quiet? I'm literally saying it the way I would say it when I was walking him, so I think that's why he's like, there's nobody here. What are you talking about? Like, but I mean, he does. It's great. He sits on our porch at night, and he just, you know, anybody driving by thinking about doing something, seeing a German Shepherd just lit on the porch, just sitting there, you know, they're gonna have like think twice about, you know, doing anything, because they are very intimidating dogs. So for the buffer, this is what I'm not understanding about building IO stream. So if the body itself was a stream, I'm going to cheat for now. We've got the new token, so let's just copy it into our game. So we're going to go over here. I'm going to paste it in here. There it is. And then we have a new refresh token. So the post works. So we know we're right. It's our reply. It's what we're putting back into the body of our response to the client that's all messed up. So we're gonna have to do some work for that. And I don't know enough about that offhand. But let's try running the game now. In theory, the game will be able to connect back to chat. Okay. It built fine. Hey! Okay, so we're back. Okay, so our refresh is working. The bot's reconnected to chat. All right. We just need to do a little bit of work on not yet, Bordon. Not yet. There's a ton of stuff I have to hook back in. Soon, next week. So this isn't sugar water. This is well, technically it is, I guess. It's grape juice, so don't judge me. Although we could try BSS. I think I might have set. I've started working on code for that. Okay, so nothing happens. We're gonna get there. Before I forget about this stuff, though, I do want to try and tackle the refresh thing. So I feel like this puts it in a string. I should be able to just throw the string in here and we're good. But it seems to have encoded the actual... Like, let me try this again. Just straight here. There it is again. Okay, so it did come through fine. That looks like JSON to me. Is that a new access token? Did we just ask for a new access token? We did. Crap. Okay. All right. So it's coming through fine. I was wrong. I did it right. What? Okay. So then what? He's laying his head on my foot. That's a good trick so that I can't leave without him knowing. I could take my shoes off. Actually, he did jump on the Miss Pac-Man cabinet and put a coin in. Like, he hit the start button and started around a Miss Pac-Man. It was pretty cool. I was like, oh my god, he's gonna play around. Okay, so that means on the client side, I think I'm okay here. We can close this out. So that code is good. Let me commit it, just so we have some history of changes here. We'll attach that. Not programming exe. We need to have that on the ignore. But what did we add? Here we go. Added refresh token. Accepting new JSON elements. Handling okay. Commit. And how do we push? Push. Sure. Okay. We're good there. All right, so that means I've got to go. My mom's going in for her treatment, so I'm gonna go with her. Looks like I haven't done any changes here, so just to be safe, I'll push. And I'll be on my laptop at the hospital working. So I think that's the end of the stream for today. And we'll be back at it. I might try to hit it up on the weekend, but probably not. So I'll see you guys on Monday. So much love. Thanks for hanging out. Nice to see you again, Board on Clue. And Devro, as always. Let me give a shout out to Devro real quick. Devro is working on a game as well in Unreal, and is what is that? Doing a lot of Blender stuff. He's really good at Blender. It's like impressive. Anyways, I gotta bail. I mean, is there somebody I could raid really quick? Is there anybody out there? Is there anybody out there? There's Saltoons. Saltoons. Maybe we could do Saltoons. I like to raid people when I have. We'll raid Saltoons. Do a raid. I know he's a pretty big guy though. He's got a lot of dudes. He's got a lot of followers and stuff. But we'll raid him. I usually try to raid people that are on the smaller end. Jackie. All right, we'll raid Jackie. But Jackie's got 47 viewers. Fine. All right, raid Jackie Codes. Jackie Codes has got it going on. Do 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 do. I always think that song for some reason pops into my head. This ad is taking forever. All right, I gotta bail.